Memledagbe, Jaira Nami, Sabbaths, blessings to you. This is Joshua from Chosen Vessels, the Preacher's channel. Today is 11/16/2019, and the title of this presentation is Why Did Yahweh Curse Eve's Childbearing of All Things, explained with the ancient Hebrew, which is the Hebrew. In the same context of Genesis chapter 3, we pose ourselves three pertinent questions. The first one being, why did God curse the serpent with losing legs? Of all things, why curse the limbs or the feet? And the verse is in Genesis chapter 3, verse 14. I read from the King James Version. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Secondly, why did God curse Eve's childbearing? Of all things, why curse childbearing? And the verse is in Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. I read from the King James Version. And unto the woman Yahweh said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Ultimately, why did God curse Adam by making him work harder? Of all things, why curse his labor? And the verse is Genesis chapter 3, verses 17 through 19. I read from the King James Version. And unto Adam Yahweh said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it. Curse is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee. And thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. In our previous presentation, we provided the answer for question number 1. So today, we will again use the ancient Hebrew revived complete chart to answer question number 2. And should you have questions, critiques, or additions to this presentation, please feel free to let your voice be heard by writing them in the comment section below this video. Other relevant information and links will be posted in the description box of this video also, should you need them, and thank you in advance for checking them out. So, why did Yahweh curse Eve's childbearing of all things? In matters of justice, it is God's approach to keep the balance even at all times. In Galatians chapter 6 verse 7 from the King James Version, we read, Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So, an eye for an eye, or a tooth for a tooth. Two examples, and the first one being from the book of Judges, chapter 1, verse 7 from the King James Version. And Adonibezek said, 70 kings, having their thumbs and their great toes cut off, gathered their meats under my table. As I have done, so God hath requited me. And they brought him to Jerusalem, and there he died. So Yahweh repaid King Adonibezek for evil, as he has done to others, so was it done to him. And the second example being from the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 6. I read from the King James Version. Reward her, Babylon, the mystery. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double, according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. So it is God's approach to keep the balance even at all times, okay, in matters of justice. So, how is God cursing Eve's childbearing a just reward for Eve's sin? In Genesis chapter 3 verse 6 we read, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. See, so it's about the fruit. The fruit is our first hint, and the word for fruit in the Hebrew is ku, the ka and the u. The ka means a root or an offspring, and the u means a covering. Details about the ka is in number 14 of the ancient Hebrew revived, the complete chart, and details about the u is in number 32 of the ancient Hebrew revived, the complete chart. So here we have the fruit versus the fruit of the womb. Psalm 127 verse 3 reads, Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Wherefore, the fruit of the womb relating to conception or childbearing, and the word for conception in the Hebrew, in the ancient Hebrew, is fu, the fa and the u. The fa means erect, which describes the form of the conception, and here it is the belly sticking out like a foot. It is erect, okay, straight. It sticks out, and the u is covering. It describes the function of conception. It is overwhelming, okay, erect and overwhelming. And details about letter F is in number 15 of the ancient Hebrew revived, the complete chart. And details about the U is in number 32 of the ancient Hebrew revived, the complete chart. Altogether, you have the eating of the fruit in comparison with conception. So Eve, Hawa, conceived evil by listening to the serpent, which we see in Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. And the book of James chapter 1, verses 14 and 15 read, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust, which is the conception, disobedience, and enticed. And here Eve is drawn away to the fruit, that is the conception. Then when lust has conceived, it brings forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, brings forth death, and death is also a result of disobedience. It is a coup in itself. And you have the fruit compared to childbearing. So we reap what we sow, and that's why Yahweh cursed Eve's childbearing. Eve conceived evil by listening, by heeding the serpent, and conceiving evil versus conceiving a child, the fruit against the fruit of the womb. So there you have it. Thanks again for watching. Please stay tuned because we have more on the way. And until next time.